Good afternoon. Yes, Patches. Hey, Louise. Hey, Jacqueline, Betty, everybody. How's everybody doing this weekend? Hey, Tammy. I am having a great day. I've played all day in the sewing room. I've just got done with yoga and came back, started sewing again, and now I'm really relaxed and ready to do a show. Thanks. Goodness. So, welcome. It's Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, here in Florida. Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. I was lucky because I had yesterday off from the shop and did some sewing, and I just love it. So you're getting rain in Georgia. Ooh. Thanks, Darlene. Yeah, it hasn't rained here. It's been really, really windy, though. Hey, Diane. We got rain real late last night, so it was a storm, but nothing like what's been happening in Louisiana. So if you're from Louisiana, and so sorry what's happening to you guys. It's just terrible, and all y'all in California too. My heart goes out to everybody out there. Very soft. Okay, so let me get closer and just talk louder. Hopefully that's better. So I turned it up. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I tried. Son had to do yoga in the military yesterday, and he was complaining how hard it was. It is. You're using every single muscle of your body. You don't use weights. You don't use... There's nothing that's like athletic. I mean, it's very athletic, but there's nothing like you're running or anything like that. It's using every single muscle in your body. And I used to do it religiously a few years ago, and I'm just getting back into it. Hey, Zandra. Hey, Mindy. Hey, Mindy, how are you? I sent you a message checking on you. Hope you're good. Hopefully we'll get Marilyn on here too. Marilyn and Mindy were out last week, but they're back. And Mindy, I hope you're doing great and with a shiny new cornea. Awesome. Can you see me? Okay, good, thanks. Don't hear anything. Can someone message Lucille Burkholtz and let her know to click out and then click back in if she can't hear? Thank you, guys. So yes, yoga is hard, but it's very rewarding in the end. You get stronger and you get, it's good for your body. And, for me, I've lost everything, all my strength and everything, so I need to get back into it. I can't see you, just part of my arm. Jacqueline, log out and log back in. Let's try that first. Good, Mindy. I'm glad. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad everything went good for you. Okay, well, let's start off today with a few housekeeping, I guess we could say. Well, today we're going to learn patches, and we're going to do patches, and we're going to learn how to do that. I've never done patches before, so this made me jump out of my comfort zone and try the function on the machine that helps you make patches. And so I was like, okay, well, cool, how do I do this? And I sat down with the book, and I sat down with the book with the Meridian, and then I went and double check with the manual that's on the Solaris, and I just went to town. And they came out pretty decent, pretty cute. So Edward, thanks for suggesting this. So again, if you want me to do something, suggest it, and I'll get to it eventually. Okay, where did I put my bowl? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I did decide on a date for the private class of the bowl holder. So these are bowl holders that are made in the hoop. However, and I'll stress this many times, is that this cannot be put in the microwave because we're using mesh stabilizer and we're using polyester thread, so it can't be. So if you ever give these, if you come to the class and you make this, you got to make sure the person you give it to does not put it in the microwave. But it's still great for, you know, putting your hot bowls in here and for your ice cream, and you can make it any size, and you know, it looks like a little, kind of like a little tulip when you're done with it. It's really cute. So I will be posting more information on that. The date I decided on is Wednesday, October 28th from 10 to 2, and it'll be $25, and you'll get, of course, all the files, the directions, and you're going to be making this along with me, so you'll actually be at your home and you'll be making it along with me. Now, how I'm going to do this is it's going to be like this. What you can do is, or what I'm going to do, excuse me, what I'm going to do is send a private Facebook group to those who sign up. And it'll stay on there forever, so you can go back and rewatch and redo and remake, and there you go. So Tammy asked, can't you make it with microwavable stuff? Yes, you can. So, but I really wanted to really use all the features I could. The only thing I would have to figure out, and I'll figure it out. I'll figure out something is, yes, we can use cotton fabric. We can use all cotton batting. And you can use, and many people have done this, I've never done it, so you can use cotton thread for embroidery, which I have not done before, so I mean, yeah, I mean, there's ways to get around everything, and Pam says she uses Wrap and Zap and all cotton thread, no stabilizers. So yeah, maybe we'll just do, you know, you can choose which version you want to do. Now the cotton thread's not going to have the sheen, but that doesn't matter. I love my friend Hope, who you guys, I was told you about either last week or a week before. She has a polyester thread that looks like cotton, and it looks beautiful when you stitch it out. It is an embroidery thread that looks like cotton. It's one of my favorite threads to use. However, yeah, I mean, we're sewers. We can do whatever we want, right? So we'll try it that way. We'll try it this way. But if you decide to make it the way that I show you this way, this is something that cannot go in the microwave. It's just a safety reason. So I have decided again that it's going to be October 28th from 10 to 2, and I'll get more information to you guys up about that this week, so you can start signing up and deciding if it's something you want to do. But I think it'll be really fun, and I've got some other ideas in the works for classes too. Let's see. Yeah. Something really cute I've been working on, and I don't know, this might be something we do next week on the class. Let me flip my camera around. I've been working on this cute, I don't even know what it's going to be. I might just turn it into a pillow, but I've taken I've taken a bunch of words that are Halloween based, and I've taken some of the designs that are inside of the Solaris, and you can do this, of course, in your Meridian or Altair, and we are just using the built-in fonts, and I'm going to put a fun echo stitch around it, so it's going to be really cute. So that's what I've been working on, so maybe we'll do that next week if there's any interest in that. Okay. Let's talk patches. Okay, so this is I've kind of made up my own way and kind of, I mean, it's just whatever works for you when you're making stuff. As we know that we're sewers, so what we do is we take suggestions and then we add our own flair to it. And that's the great thing about sewing and doing stuff is coming up with your own creative ways of doing things. There are no rules. So there are no rules, to this. So let me jump on this question real quick. Gail said, I had an issue with resizing the clip art to do last week's project. I have an Android. Any suggestions? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Resizing, and I'm assuming you mean resizing in the machine. Maybe just try, did you try another image, Gail? Just in case. It could have been an image. Yeah, I'm not really sure. So, okay. Let's see, and I'll get back, Gail, let me see if I can get back to you on that one. I'll think about it for a minute. Okay. Well, let's look at the little patches I came up with. Now, the first one, to me, didn't come out great because it's the first one. The first one's always going to be the one that doesn't come out great because you're learning the steps and nothing's going to be perfect. But I did really like it, and I loved it. So let's see. I know this is backwards, but it's one of the built-in fonts in the Meridian here. So pretty. But as you can you see right there? That's not thread. What that is that's part of the fabric I used. And so I learned my lesson on that. And what I learned my lesson on is the cutting. So that was just due to cutting. So super cute. Now I can take this and put it wherever I want and fuse it there. The other one I did, I think this is really cute. I'm not big into these, but I haven't stitched one of these out yet, so I was like, just make a patch out of it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so super duper cute. So look here. Isn't he cute? So this is a patch. I made a full-blown patch. This is huge. I even shrunk this down a little bit, but he's huge. So again, I can put him wherever I want. Excuse me. So what we're going to use is I forgot the name of it, but it's the applique something feature in the machine, and we'll talk about what that is. And the example that I'm going to walk you through, I'm actually going to make one in front of you. So this might be a little long, so if I get long-winded, it's okay. Come back and watch. If you got to go eat or do whatever, it's fine. But I wanted to do one in front of you so I can show you all the steps. Now what you need is some type of material. Let me grab everything I've got here. Okay. You need some type of material. I am actually using duck cloth for this first one, or for the one that I'm going to stitch in front of you. This one was done on duck cloth, and this one was done on regular fabric. So, but what I did is I like to add a little bit more body to my fabric when I'm embroidering it, especially if it's a cotton or if it's something that has, that's basically woven. I know it's also woven, but you know what I mean? You can kind of, as I take fusible interfacing, this one is the embellished, this one's Dream Weave from Floriani. I also like the Shape Flex, and I believe it's made by Pellon. And then I love the embellished ones as well. So I fused that onto the back of my fabric, and it's just going to add a little bit more body to hold those stitches. And then what I did is I took a piece of tearaway. Now I'm hooping those all together. So I've got my fabric that is fused with the interfacing, and then I've got a piece. This is the soft tearaway from Baby Lock. So I've got that hooped. This is going to be a two-step process. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy doing it, actually. So this is the first step. The second step, we will rehoop something else. We're going to rehoop 2 layers of wash away stabilizer. So I need my fabric, and it's not as time consuming as it sounds. I'm going to have my fabric with my interfacing on the back, my tearaway stabilizer. I'm going to have 2 layers of wash away. And then I need something, if I don't want to sew it on, if I want to heat it and glue it on, basically, like, you know, traditional patches, you take them and you iron them on. And that's what's on the back of these. And I don't know if you can see I did not trim anything. This looks terrible. But see the shine on there? What that is, and I'll tell you where to get this. This is Patch Bond. And Patch Bond is a Zandra Shaw exclusive, I guess we could call it. She uses this for her shoes and for her patches that she makes with her designs, and they're beautiful. So I got some from her shop, embroidershop.com, and I'll put this in links in the thing. But it's spelled Embroider Shop, but shop is SHOPPE.com. And you can get this, and it's great stuff. And so the shoes, I don't know if I ever showed y'all the shoes, but I can get them back out. We put that in the shoes to have stability. And now I'm using it as what I think it's meant for, is for a patch. So now I can take this and fuse it to wherever I want. And Pam says kids love those on book bags. Cute idea. Make a bunch of patches, iron them on their book bag, or sew them. Now, the thing with patches is if you're going to sew them, is totally cool. I do my father's patches for his motorcycle jacket all the time. I mean, it seems like he's always got a new one. And I stitch it on. And what I do is I take and match this color of thread and just do a little straight stitch and stitch it all the way down. For some reason, those don't have fusible on the backs, the ones that he gets. So, but I think that's actually good because they're, you know, out and about, they're riding, they're moving, so they're, you know, safer. So, yeah, that's it. That's all you need, really. And an iron. And a machine. You need a machine. So, let's go into the way we actually use the applique feature in the machine. And like I said, I am going to stitch one fully out in front of you. It is small, so it shouldn't take that long, but we'll see. But that way you can get a really good view, or, you know, you really know what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and move the camera over to the Meridian. I'm going to do this on the Meridian, same process on the Solaris, exact same process. We are not using any IQ today. We're just using our embroidery functions. So we're learning more about our embroidery functions today. I love it. Okay, let me turn you around. And this is the point I say, if you get dizzy, make sure to close your eyes or look away. And I will let you know when we're ready to go. Okay, I'm going to shrink you guys down a little bit more so we can get really good and in on that screen. Of course, if you have any questions while we're going through, please ask them. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's go. I like it when it's level. Oh. All right, I think that's pretty good. So any questions so far while we're about to start? Okay, here we go. Move my chair around. That way I can get to you guys nice and quick. Okay. Now, if we're doing a design, and now that I see this, I want it to come down a little bit more. There we go. Now, let me just take you back home. If I want to, that's wonky. There we go. Oh, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so if we want to take a design and turn it into a patch, what we need to do first is find a design. And this design can be a built-in design, it can be a brought-in design, whatever your heart desires. You can have it any way you want. And that's the great thing about creating, is we can do whatever we want. But what I'm going to do for a quick one is just do my name. And I'm going to first go to embroidery. And I'm going to use the built-in fonts up here. So if you're looking on your screen, you're going to see all these little tabs, and we're going to select the number 3 tab. And I'm just going to pick a font and spell out my name. So I like number 9. It's a pretty font to me. So I'm just going to go I'll go small letter, little letter, A. Perfect. And I'm going to just leave it this size. It is kind of small, but I want to use my 4x4 hoop. Now I've got this on my screen, and the next thing that I need to do if I want to make this a patch is I'm going to go to my edit area right here. And you can see you have all these different options here. And if you've never played with the option that is like a shield and a little crown, that is your applique. And they call it applique. I really think they should call it patch, because it really works better for patches. So what I'm going to do is select that little button, and now notice what happened. What happened is, let's bring it in a little bit so you can see it. What happened is it basically put a satin stitch around my name. Now I can go into my settings if I want that a little closer. I haven't looked at this yet, so let me find it. Here, distance, applique distance. And I can change that. I can make it closer or further away. And I'm just going to leave it where it's at, but you would want to do that before you push the applique button. But know that you do have some options there. Now from this screen, after I selected the applique icon, all I have to do now is go to embroidery. That's all I have to do. I'm done. So if we look at the colors, I'm actually going to return because it's easier to show you the colors this way. I'm going to tap on that. So if we look at the colors, what's going to happen? And this is why this applique button can be a little bit confusing. So what's going to happen right now first is it's going to stitch out my name. Right after that, it's going to put a line around it. That is going to be considered my cut line. And you can see the little scissors right here. That means that I am going to stitch out my name, stitch out the cut line, unhoop my entire project, and cut directly on that cut line. Okay, well that's easy enough. I can do that. The next stitch is where I am going to hoop 2 pieces of wash away stabilizer. And I'm going to hoop them. And then it's going to stitch that line. That is my placement line for the applique that I just cut out. I'm going to place it inside of the stitch line. And then the third stitch will be that final satin stitch. It's kind of a neat process. I see where they're coming from. So you could do this on a quilt. You just got to stitch out your applique first and cut it out and go and put it on a quilt. But we're using this as patches. So the very first thing that I want to do is, like I said, I've got some duck cloth. On the back of my duck cloth, here, let's pull it down. On the back of my duck cloth right here, I've got my fusible interfacing, and then my my tear away stabilizer. And Deborah asked, am I going to use wash away stabilizer on the top of design? No, I'm not. You can, depending on the fabric, but I'm not. I'm not going to use this like Badge Master. If you've ever used Badge Master, which I've never used, but I think that's how you do it with Badge Master. I'm not going to put any wash away on top of the design. I'm just going to do this straight onto this fabric. And you'll see, it comes out really cool. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to pull the camera back just a hair so you all can see. And I'm going to stitch out the first part. So I'm going to go to embroidery, and the first part's going to be my name. So that'll just take, this whole thing takes 6 minutes. It's no time at all. Place it on. I've got a pretty purple thread. I'm kind of locked in here. Let me take that off. Okay, there we go. I've just got a pretty purple thread in, which I hardly ever use purple, so I was like, why don't I use purple today? So I'm going to let it stitch my name out. It shouldn't take too long. So if you don't mind hanging out for a moment. Good question, Diane. I will get to that. That is a great question. I haven't put the wash or the patch bond on yet because I don't want it to, I want as less as possible hooped here to make, make a beautiful design. I know that it'll be a beautiful design, but with the patch bond, but I decided to do it a little bit different. And again, this is not the end all be all of patches. It's just one way that I found that I could do them. And especially with this great little feature we have in our machines, it's really cool. Ooh, that's pretty. That is a beautiful purple. Why don't I use purple more? I don't know. Now I have to figure out where I'm going to put this. Especially this little guy. He is so cute. I need to figure out something to do with him. Almost done. Hey, Stephanie. You can always go back and watch, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I have the meat of my embroidery. And now what I need to do is stitch my cut line. So that is going to be our next stitch. Remember, that's the one with the little scissors. So I'm going to stitch that, and then I'm going to read a question. Darlene says, could you put a ribbon on it and a backing fabric on the second time? And let's see, it stitches out and makes something like, yeah, of course you can. Absolutely. Yeah, you can, girl, you can do anything you want. I think that would be really cool. So what I might do is then, let's say we would use the same hoop or same fabric as the backing fabric. I would take and restitch this line right here, again somewhere else, so I have the exact same size as the front and the back. So Diane, I am looking, no, this is, I know it's the angle. I am using my 4x4 hoop. It's just the angle that my camera is sitting. So yeah. Why doesn't the icon scissor? I'm not quite sure. You should have. We'll see. Are you, Judy? Are you stitching along with me? All right. So now I'm going to take this out, and I'm actually going to take it out of the hoop. So there we go. Right there. And what I'm going to do now is cut along the dashed line. So I'm going to move my camera over here to my little setup station here. Now let me tell you guys a little secret, because I get asked about this a lot. What I have right here that sits next to my machines is a little ironing station, and I have my, yes, I use wool all the time. I love the wool pressing mats. What I did is I went to Goodwill. Then Judy, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, maybe I'll go, when we're done, I'll go back through the process and let's double check that. Okay, so I went to Goodwill and I bought one of those, found one of those wooden TV trays, and then I covered it with a layer of Insul Bright, a layer of that silver ironing board material, and then a pretty fabric on top, and now I can iron all on this. And then I can fold this up and take it to classes too. It's really great. And then I can pull it around the house if I'm doing something, you know, like handwork or anything like that, and I need to press while I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm going to cut directly on the line now. Now I know you're probably like, oh, all that fabric. Now, I did try with this one to do just a piece of fabric on top of the stabilizer. What I didn't do is put a basting stitch to hold it down. So if you look at this closely, I've got some little wrinkles. It didn't, you know, this was so stitch intensive and I should have known better. So you can take a piece of your fabric and just hoop your stabilizer and lay it down, but make sure you tack it down with a basting stitch. That way you won't get a lot of puckers. You know, I mean, if you're really into conserving fabric, a lot of people are, and I'll be honest with you, I'm very wasteful. So now what I'm going to do first is just cut this out like this. Just get it out of the way. Get all that out of the way. I'm not wasteful. Actually, what we have here in Tallahassee is we have these great ladies who come by the shop and they pick up the fabric, and what they do is they make dog beds. So any scraps you may have, we have a big thing that we do at our shop. Everybody brings their scraps and they make dog beds for rescue dogs out of all of our scraps. It's so cool. So I'm just going to trim. I'm really just trimming on the thread. And that was my first mistake. When I was talking about this one right here, and if I hold it up to you, you can see that white fabric right there. That's because I was just trying to be so cautious and I was going just outside of the line. So instead of directly on the line. And so that way I have all these little things sticking out from my fabric. What did you do to get the outline? Edward, I'll go right back to that. 1 second. Let me finish cutting this and we'll walk back through those processes again. Oh, you got it? Okay, good. But I will walk through that process super quickly again. We'll just... Alright, so I'm cutting almost there. And this one has a lot of little ridges and stuff, so just taking my time. Yeah, Diane, you of course you can always scan this into your scanning cup, but not everybody has a scanning cup. So, yeah, you totally could. If you have a scanning cup, and that is a digital cutting machine, we can take this before I cut it out and lay it down on the mat, and it'll trace that line right there, and then it'll cut it out for us, which is really cool. Super, super cool. I love my digital cutter. Thanks, Louise. Those are Quilter Select. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're the best. I'm sure Salima can get them for you. And I do have my stabilizer on the back. I'm going to leave it on just for this one, but normally I would just tear that away. But there, now I have my actual applique. I am going to now take my 2 pieces of Wash Away stabilizer. And this piece is a little big. I should have been a little more careful on that. I mean, I am wasteful, like I said. I'll admit it. And I'm going to put my 2 layers in there. Just like this. Make sure it's in there nice and tight. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the machine here. So let's toggle you up. Perfect. My little screensaver there. Okay, so I'm going to jump back real quick. So I'm just going to hit return so I can talk about this again. So let's go to the colors again. So for the first stitch, what it's going to do is stitch out your embroidery. The next stitch will be your cut line. I know it's kind of hard to see on here, but there's the line that will stitch out. This is when you will let it stitch out. You'll take the hoop off the machine and the material out of the hoop, and you'll cut directly on that cut line. Then what we have is our placement line. You're going to see that in a moment. And then our finished satin stitches. Thanks, Cookie. Cookie Gaynor. Miss Cookie Gaynor is an embellish educator with our friend Hope. So everybody say hey to Cookie. She's amazing. So if you ever see any little webinars out there from Cookie, make sure to take them. She's so knowledgeable. Okay. Let me get back to my screen. Okay, so this is where we left off. This stitch right here is the placement stitch for my applique. So I'm going to take my 2 layers of Wash Away stabilizer, and I'm going to hoop them. And I'm just going to let that stitch down. While that's stitching down, I'm going to bring you back over here. And now this is where I'm going to apply the patch bond. I've got my little piece of patch bond right here, and you'll notice it has a paper topping and then a shinier side. The shiny side's going to go to the back of your fabric like this. So remember, it's got to be on the wrong side of the fabric. Now, I'm going to take a Teflon pressing sheet, and I've got my iron here, and I'm going to press that on. And there are directions on how to press this on. There we go. What I like to do is get it on there and then take this off, let it cool for a minute, and then trim the outside away and then repress it. So you want to let it cool first so it doesn't get your scissors all icky. And then I'm going to go trim again. And, I was asked earlier, when does the patch bond go on? And the reason why I'm doing it now, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, guys. One more. Woo! Okay. The reason why I'm putting it on now instead of before is because, number one, it's going to seal all those stitches. Thank you, Diane. It's going to seal all those stitches in that are on the back. Now, if you wanted a pretty back, you get back there and, trim all your stitches before you put your patch bond on. Otherwise, it looks like a big, atrocious mess like that. He looks mad now. Happy? Mad. Okay, so I've got that. There we go. And I'm going to press it again. But I have to be careful because the patch bond is on here. So I'm just going to take this and press this side. Now with embroidery, guys, actually I don't have any patch bond, so I can do it on my wall mat. With embroidery, the best thing to do is to never press directly on top of your embroidery. Number one, it's going to smush it. Number two, it's polyester thread. It could burn, well, not like catch on fire, but it could get scorched a little bit. So I'm just going to take this and press this a little bit longer. Is that the same as heat and bond? Not really. Heat and bond is more for like appliques and such. This to me is a little bit thicker, and it's I would use this, totally for patches, and then heat and bond for like regular appliques. Since we're making a patch, I would use this. But if you're making an applique, you could use the heat and bond. But I just think this is stronger, a little bit thicker. If Xandra's still on here, maybe she could talk to us a little bit, give us a little info about the patch bond. She was on here a minute ago, so let's see if she's able to talk to us about that. Which side did the shiny go to? To the back of my project. Oops, I'm sorry, to the back. Now the paper side's right here. So I'm going to remove that here in a second. But I want to let it cool as much as possible. Because when we go back over to the machine, let's go over to the machine. Look, there's my placement line on my water-soluble stabilizer. If I'm sniffling now, I'm sorry, I got sneezy. Okay, to remove this, let's see. Donna says, there's another brand called Fuse and Bond. Is it similar? I'm not quite sure, Donna. I don't know that one. So maybe something we have to research. So what I'm going to do now, let me come over here where you can see it. I have my applique, there's my outline, but the patch bond on the back of it has a paper covering. So I need to score it and remove that paper covering. There we go. And now you're going to be able to see how shiny that is? That is basically your glue, but it's not like a sticky. It's sticky when it's heated, so... Judy, are you on the Solaris? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just take this little guy and place him directly in that line. So I'm going to set him in there, but I'm going to pull it away a little bit so I can make sure I get it in there good. Let's see. I think that should be good. And I'm going to press it because it does have a tiny bit of a tack, so it'll hold it into place. Now, hopefully I got it cut close enough. If not, we might see some little white thingies come through. But, details. Okay, so now my last stitch. All right, everybody, Xandra is chiming in. And let me read what she said. Patch bond is an industrial grade. It is heavyweight interfusible webbing that works great for patches and other projects. She says she does not recommend to use it for applique designs. Then you would want to go with a lighter webbing. So Thank you, Zandra. That's awesome. And we'll put a link up to make sure you guys can get some of this. Judy has the meridian. Judy. Yeah, let me check into that for you. Okay, so my last stitch is going to be my satin stitch. This is going to be the finishing up of my patch here. Is it Stable Stick? No, it's called Patch Bond. All right, so I'm going to drop my foot, and just for a moment, and you know, if you're comfortable doing this, all I'm going to do is just hold that for a moment. Just so it encapsulates. There we go. So it can kind of hold everything down. There we go. Now I see I didn't cut very well because it went up a little bit. So I might have a little bit of, you know. So make sure you practice this first. So it's going to first tack it down, and then it's going to go back and do the satin stitch. Okay, so let's go back here. You're welcome, Donna. So let me go back to Judy here. Instead of scissors, I can applique material. The next step is applique position. Yeah, so whatever the second stitch is directly after your regular embroidery, then that is going to be your cut line. You're welcome. Thanks, Deborah. Hey, Mama. Yeah, Diane, if you do one and you bring it over to the scan and cut, would you take a couple pictures of you cutting it out on your scan and cut? Because that would be really cool to show everyone here. Almost there. This came out really cute. Thanks, Diane. And again, I am using duck cloth, so, you know, it's a little more fray, if this is a word, frayer. So I found that the cotton did really well on this last step. So right here, I may want to get some purple markers and just go in. I know you can't see it yet, but I'll show you. And just go in and tap that a little bit to kind of, you know, fill in the color there. Okay, Judy, I'm pretty sure that's probably all it is. And I don't know if that's a new update or something. I think mine's fully updated. Do I add a base stitch to all of my patches? Well, with this function, Latricia, with this function, it adds it for me, so I don't have to do anything. So, and I think, and I'm assuming base stitch, maybe you mean the stitch that's right before the satin, which tacks it down to hold it into place. So I'm going to see if that's what you mean. I'm loving this purple. Okay, cool. She's done. Now, your patch is done right at this moment, okay? You're completely done. So where do you go now? What happens after that? How do I get this out of here? Okay, yeah, Latricia, if you own a Baby Lock and it has this feature, it already does all that for you, so you don't have to worry about a thing. So now all I have to do is finish this up. And let me show you what I figured out for finishing it up, because I did not use a rayon thread. If you have a rayon thread, what you can do is take a heat burning tool or the Bernsey tool that Sandra has, and you can literally burn it out of the hoop here. I don't want to do that because I'm using a polyester thread, and polyester thread will burn. I've had it happen to me several times. There are some tricks, but So what I decided to do, especially with using the water soluble stabilizer, I'm going to bring you right here, back over to my messy little station. And I am going to pop her out of the hoop. Let me do this, because... Oh, no worries, Latricia. You can always go back and re-watch this at any time. Any of our videos, you can go back. All you have to do is go look in the photos section, and each of the videos will have like a play button on them. And believe it or not, guys, all thanks to you, this is our 15th video. Yay! Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pop this out. I'm going to get rid of some of this bulk. I'm going to use my paper scissors now, or my stabilizer scissors now. And I just found that this worked okay for me, so you can do this however you want. But I decided I didn't want to soak the whole thing. Now, Zandra can tell me, because I didn't ask Zandra about if I soak it, is it going to be okay with the Patch Bond? So I should have emailed her and I didn't, but what I just decided to do was I just go as super close as I can around here. And I'm actually going to leave a little bit so I can show you. But I'm going to get as close as possible without cutting any of the lines. But still having a little bit so I can show you how I've finished it up. And also I thought, well, if I dunk this, you know, if I leave the stabilizer behind the stitching, then I'll have a little extra support there. The other thing I did was I came in here and again, and I cut this out. Now again, I'm pretty sure you can dunk it with the Patch Bond, but I didn't. I just kind of decided to leave a little bit of stabilizer behind those satin stitches. And if Zandra can answer that for me. Zandra, is it safe to dunk this in water with the Patch Bond on it? So let's see what she says. Now remember, I have 2 layers, so I'm going to cut the first one, and then I'm going to go in here and cut the second one, if I can get a hold of it. There we go. And I'm just cutting really close. Now you may be going, well, if you're not going to soak that, why wouldn't you use a regular no-show mesh? Because of the outside here, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, almost done with this part, and I'm just going to messily get this off. Okay. So now I have my little patch. This is my Patch Bond on the back. Exciting. And the satin stitch is holding it to my design. So what I want to do is get rid of these little, this little bit of stabilizer right here. So let's put all this to the side. I got a little tea towel or a kitchen towel here. Of course, it has flamingos. If you know anything about me, I love flamingos, and my sister gets me the cutest flamingo stuff. So I've also got a cup of water and some Q-tips, dollar store Q-tips. I'm going to dip one in there and get it nice and soaking wet and just run it along, and it'll start to kind of like disappear, and then it'll kind of like ball up, and I can just wipe it away. But also what that's doing, although it's getting wet, it's getting these stitches wet, it's still leaving a little bit of stabilizer inside of those stitches, so I still have a little bit more support there. So I'm just going to quickly go around. So there's that big thick part I was telling you about. Okay. So I'm just going to take this and just start rubbing it off. It's going to rub away. Once again, this is absolutely just one way, I'm sure, of a million ways to do patches, but I just thought this was the coolest, it's a really cool feature on the machine. And, like I've talked about before, we buy these amazing machines and they're pretty pricey. We buy them. Why not try to use anything and everything we can on these machines? Because they're so cool. So cool. Okay, so there we go. This is really cute. I gotta put this on something. So like I said, you can see some little bitty thingies there, but I'll just get a purple marker and do that. That is from the fabric, because it's duck cloth and it's really, it can kind of get shreddy. But otherwise, I think that looks really good. Let me flip it over to the back. So this is the patch bond. So now when I go to take this and fuse it onto something, let's move these right out of the way here. Let's just say I had a piece of fabric and I'm going to fuse this down. You want to be very, very careful. Do not put, unless you have a pressing cloth or a Teflon sheet, you'll put that on top of it to press it on there. And the directions will be on the packaging for your patch bond. But ta-da! We made a patch. How cool is that? And let me show you something else. Okay, thank you, Cookie. Let me show you something silly I learned today. I have the most amazing customers at work, and they make us all kind of stuff. And one of my customers gave me this, which I think is the stinking cutest thing. But I don't use scrubbies in my when I'm washing dishes. I use a brush. And so it's just been hanging in my kitchen because it's so precious. What adorable. I mean, it's so adorable. So if you use a Teflon sheet, especially with stuff that is sticky and you're having a hard time getting it off, let me show you. This works great. So if one of your customers gives you a scrubby that she made, it comes right off. Silly little trick, but I absolutely thought it was the sweetest thing. So that big parts will come off, but yeah. So I worked in an Amish quilt shop in Sarasota, Florida, and the ladies used to make these, and we used to sell them. I loved these. I always thought they were so cute, but I don't use them for our machine. But I was so thankful she made this beautiful, beautiful gift for me. I love it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, Edward, I hope that answered some of your questions. So, okay, so let's just turn you guys around. Okay, I'm going to turn real quick, guys. You get to see another part of the room. Hey. So I really hope that answered some questions for you. I think it's a neat little technique to do. It's a lot of fun, and especially if maybe you can get the kids in on the action. So if you have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, they would probably have fun helping you pick a design and really doing that. Oh, good, Edward. I'm glad to hear that. So, yeah. So any questions so far? I'm going to zoom back through and just make sure I've answered every question. So I'm just going to start from the beginning here. I want to make sure I get everybody. Okay, back to Gail. You had issues with resizing the clip art to do last week. It shouldn't have. Okay, so Gail, if you're still on here, I don't think it would have anything to do with it being an Android, but one thing you could try is to print the design out on a piece of paper and then take a picture of it with your phone and then send it over. I'm not sure if that'll work, but I'm really not sure because mine will resize. So let's go over that really quickly. Let's turn you back around. So guys, last week, if you weren't here, what we did is we took a little pumpkin design and turned it into a reverse applique. And so I should still have the design in here. So let's see. Okay, so I had sent the design over. And I'm going to find it in my little leaf here. And I'm going to select Wi-Fi because that's how I sent it over. And it should be this one. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to hit set. And now what it's going to do is show me the background feature of it. So I'm going to turn that off. And then when I turn that off, let's see. Oops. You know what? Oh, you know what I didn't do? You use the special resize button too. Gail, you know what? Let me ask you this, because I just did something that was totally wrong. Did you select line design? Maybe that's it. I'm not sure. Okay, so I told y'all wrong a moment ago. What I want to do is select line design, and it should bring up whatever you're using. And I'm going to, right here I can't change the size. But if I push OK and set, there's my design. And I want to go to my, first if I want to resize it, I'm going to go to size. And I'm going to make it bigger or smaller. So there's my bigger. Okay, so you did, yeah, okay, so you went there. And then I would change the line to whatever I wanted, a satin or a bean stitch or whatever. So let's just go do a color so we can see it together. There we go. So the other thing is, Gail, if you happen to bring it in, so let's go back to the very beginning. After we brought it in, we'll go back up to line design. There's my pumpkin. I'm going to select OK and set. So if you happen to accidentally touch off the screen, meaning touch off where that red box is, like this, what happens is I can't change anything right at this moment. So what I have to do is select it. And how I select it is by going to, it was bigger than the frame. Not quite sure. Okay, so let's see. It may be the design itself, so you may want to try a different pumpkin. So if I tap off the screen, what's going to happen is I can't do anything to this guy anymore. You know, I'm just going to have, you know, I'm going to have to go to next or whatever. But if I select this icon right here, this resizing, or excuse me, selection icon, and you see mine's blue, I'm going to draw a box around it. And now my size pops back up. And I'm going to be able to enlarge it. And then now I can go do what I want. Well, Gail, maybe what happened is maybe when you brought it over, you accidentally touched the screen, and that takes the red box off. And when it takes the red box off, the size right here grays out, so you can't use it. So you got to grab the selection tool, draw a box around it, and when you do that, your size pops open right here. So I can go to size, and I can change it any size I want. I can play with it, or so that may be it. I'm not quite sure. If it's acting weird, you may just want to try a different design. So hopefully that helps. We'll see. So any questions you got today for me? So hopefully you learned a lot with this. I think it's really cool. I like the Patch Bond. It's a really cool product. So we'll make sure we get those links up for you. So again, all you need is some fabric. I like to put interfacing on the back of a fabric. Just helps with the puckering. A piece of tearaway. And then 2 layers of wash away. You need a piece of Patch Bond. And you need other little stuff that you might need. Definitely will need a Teflon pressing sheet. some water, and some Q-tips, and an iron. That helps. So, any questions? Is Fuse and... I'm not sure, Edward. What I would do with looking for something that is like Xandra's, if you don't get the patch bond, you're going to do like a Google search of backing for patches. I'm not sure because I don't know all the stuff out there. So Fuse and Bond, if someone wants to chime in, I don't know anything about that one. So good question though. I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there. Thanks, Cookie. See if there's anybody else. I got what you meant. Okay, so maybe next week we'll do a little bit of letter fun with my fun little guy that I showed y'all at the beginning of the video. That's really fun to do anyways, so I like that. I'm probably going to turn it into pillow. Let's see. Latricia says Stalls has one. Because a lot of people asked me about this. Let me just show you really quickly. What in the world was I going to do with that beautiful pink ribbon design that I just stitched out that Xandra gave us for free on her website? And I decided just to put it on a board. But I didn't get it too smooth, so I might have to take it out and redo it. But I just put it on a board. But look how cute! Look at these. I love the butterflies. And so what I was thinking is I would do a quilt with all the colors, meaning like breast cancer one, the... ovarian cancer, which is the teal color. I had stage 4 endometriosis, which is like one of the the hardest ones to have, and but that's all gone now. That's all gone. And everything else is gone too. But our ribbon is yellow, so I'll do a yellow one, and maybe, I don't know, do all the colors. I thought that would be gorgeous in a quilt, and using the background fills to fill around it. So I'm going to work on that. I think that's going to be gorgeous. So yeah, make sure you go over there to get your free design, because Xandra's so great, gracious with that. Also, don't forget that over at my friend Hope's site, you still can get 10% off of anything. It's Christmas time. She's making great stuff she's making watch bands, she's making coasters, she's making ornaments and stuff. So Anna 10, and so yeah, anytime. Oh, Ronnie, of course, you can be part of our group anytime. So, yeah, so I'm going to jump off. If you have any questions, of course. Oh, wait, Gail has something. But on my bowl class, I won't be able to take it live. What, you don't want to get up at 4 a.m., Gail? Well, yes, what I'll do, okay, that's a great question, Gail. So for my bowl class, what will happen is it'll be just like this. It's going to be a Facebook Live. And what we'll do is it'll be recorded just like these are, so you can go back to watch it. You'll just have a special link for it, so you won't be able to find it here. It'll be on a different link for you, so you can go back and rewatch it as much as you want. Absolutely, thanks. Yeah, I don't expect you to get up at 4 a.m. Where can I find that clear holder on my door? Oh, okay. So Tracy, let me get back to Edward. That is in Edward, real quick. It's Embroider Shop. It's at the word embroider, SHOPPE.com. And Tracy, where can you find that clear holder? Oh, my stabilizer holder. I believe, I've had it for a long time. I believe I got it from nancysnotions.com. Hi, Bunny. Yeah, I believe that's where I got it. Where did you get the designs for the butterfly? Oh, well, thank you for asking, Darlene. So if you go to embroidershop, shoppe.com, Zandra has graciously given this design for free on her shop. Cookie, thank you. That makes me feel good. Because you've taught me a lot, too. You're so... Cookie Gaynor, she's an amazing educator. Anytime, guys. Okay, so I'm going to jump off. Keep asking questions. If you want to, I'll always come back to them and answer them. So hopefully you make a bunch of patches. If you make any, please post them. We love to see what you're working on. So anytime, I'm here for you guys. So have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.